So, like the mid-season finale, Walking Dead just aired, and I was thinking about like zombie bites in Walking Dead, and like how
inconsistent they are.
Yeah. So like the biggest thing that I think about is like, all right. So if it's revealed at the end of the first season that everyone's infected, then like why are they so worried about like the zombie bite? And it's like like I can see the zombie bite gets infected and you die, but like, oh no, I'm actually just correct. I'm just correcting
because a zombie bite kills you, and then you turn.
Unless you chop off the limb, yeah.
I mean, that is not even a guarantee. But also, I mean, a flu affects everyone differently. If you want to carry it, if you want to carry it.
Yeah.
So it's
I don't know. I was thinking. I was like, why are they so worried about the zombie bites if like everybody's just gonna turn when they die anyway?
Well, I remember thinking that too. It just depends on the episode, how severe. Like, okay, how quickly do we need this character to die, like turn and die, basically?
Right. And it's like how quickly they'll. But then, like, what is in the infection of like? Is it just old teeth?
I don't know. Mouths are dirty enough. Can you imagine a dead mouth?
Oh yeah, all like the gore, like other dead shit that it's been eating.
Yeah, you know, that's a lot. That's a lot of bacteria. It's like it basically turns a human into a Komodo dragon.
Oh man, I want to bring up something about Fear of Walking Dead, but I don't know if it'll be a spoiler if you ever watch it. I can say this: there's a character that gets bit, and they remove their arm, like they cut off their own arm, like fucking like 127 hours style type shit, and they're not sure if they got it in time, but so they're just like constantly sick, like they feel like they're infected, but not actually like turning into a zombie for the remainder of it. And they take their own arm that they they cut off, and let the skin and everything just like fall off of it, and then graft like a thing for like their bone arm to be attached to their arm, and they use it as like a stabbing weapon to kill zombies.
That's intense,
right? It's fucking cool.
Some General Grievous shit right there. Remember, like his armor is his skeleton.
Yeah. Well, no, they're like they're all just like all sweaty, like they look like they could turn at any second, and they're just like killing zombies with their bone hand.
I want to see that episode now. You kind of piqued my interest for Fear and Loathing the Walking Dead.
Fear and Loathing of the Walking Dead. I feel like once like this, like when I told you, like it's like they're going like nuclear holocaust shit now. Now they're in like the fallout of that.
That just gave me a really good idea. You know, there's like Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, Fear and Loathing of the Walking Dead.
Oh man,
you do like a zombie Fear and Loathing acid.
That shouldn't have happened.
Acid trip.
Well, I'm biting his face. Is that real?
I like that idea. Anyways, this is Tommy.
This is Tommy and Jacob's mixtape. Welcome, hey everybody. Welcome, hey. I feel the energy's kind of low in here right now. I don't know why. Do you feel that?
No, I think it'll come.
It'll come. Yeah, because we're doing a fucking weird movie, Tommy.
What
the fuck, man?
I don't know. It wasn't what I thought it was going to be.
What? Had you seen it before?
No, I told you I'd never seen it before. I just heard of it.
Oh, fuck. Okay. I thought you had seen it because, like, watching, I was like, "This
Dr. Gonzo."
Thank you. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh, that was. Oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, because like,
this was very different than I thought it was going to be from.
This case, it doesn't necessarily feel like a movie that you would really watch. Actually,
no, 100% was not. The movie that we're reviewing is Bug, just so everyone's aware.
Yeah. So like our 2-week inspiration for our one word was infect.
Yeah, and I had remembered. I thought I made this very clear to you. I thought I had seen a commercial for this movie.
I think I'd heard "scene" and then everything else was like movie. So.
And like it was like like I heard like I was under the impression it's a movie about a couple getting infected with bugs, and I was
but
like,
a government conspiracy.
Yeah, like
which sure it's kind of about that.
Yeah, like I thought it was like it was kind of like another. I thought it was like. To correlate, I thought it was like The Crazies.
Yeah, no,
that's what I thought. Or like Splinter, or
yeah.
which I like now. I'm like, we should have done either of those ones instead. But this was
no. I'm actually no, because one, I thoroughly enjoyed this fucking movie.
I bet you did.
I don't even know where. Like when we get to reviews, I don't even know where to begin. And yeah, so let's just fucking get it. Yeah, the movie's Bug. It came out technically. Well, it had its premiere, not world. Yeah, I guess world premiere. Its premiere on May 19th, 2006 at Cannes Festival. But it didn't have a full release until May 25th of 2007.
Yeah, because it got purchased and then worldwide.
And that's what generally happens when like a movie like this gets at a popular film festival and whatnot, like Sundance or Cannes and what have you. So, but it's got some mid-range IMDb ratings, or just ratings in general. IMDb gave it a 6.1. Rotten Tomatoes had a 62 tomato meter rating, a 34% audience score, and a 62 Metacritic, which really, I don't know, it doesn't surprise me. I just think I really enjoy this movie, and I think that's because of the nature of what it was.
It's a very particular thing.
Yeah. And so since it didn't really have a worldwide release, so I could only find its domestic box office, and it was 166. It was number 166 out of 200.
Okay.
How many movies did you see this year?
93.
93. I knew yours was going to be super high. Just literally looking at the movies and the names, I was like, Tommy's. Yep,
How old are you at?
45.
45.
Yeah. Yeah, I was sitting like, but also it's still, again, I'm sitting there looking like, I keep seeing these names and I pull them up. I'm like, I know that movie. I just haven't seen it.
Yeah.
It's like, I could tell you what happens in that movie.
But you just haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anywho. Did you have any more box office stuff? Like, did you get like sales or?
Yeah, budget of $4 million, which I was like,
really? Well, maybe that end scene, maybe.
Maybe. Budget of $4 million.
A lot of makeup, if you think about it. A lot of foil.
Yeah, and grossed $8 million.
Yeah. I saw that it on its opening weekend, it placed fourth, right behind the three big franchises coming out, which was Pirates of the Caribbean, Spider-Man, and what was the other one?
Transformers.
Was that it?
Order of the Phoenix. Shrek 3.
I think it was Shrek 3, yeah.
There's a lot of franchises.
Yeah, it was Shrek 3.
Making moves this year.
Yeah, no, like the top movies this year were those, what we just said: Spider-Man 3, Shrek the Third, Transformers, Pirates at World's End, Order of the Phoenix, I Am Legend, the sequel to National Treasure.
See, that would have been good for Infect, too. We were trying to avoid zombies, though.
I Am Legend, yeah.
Yeah,
we were trying. Yeah, we definitely did it on this movie. Let's get into directors.
Do you want to do a synopsis?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Girl meets boy. Boy brings invisible bugs. Bugs cause spiral into madness.
Yeah. This movie's
Romeo and Juliet with paranoid schizophrenia.
I don't know if it's Romeo and Juliet, but they're not star-crossed lovers. There's society. I mean, if you believe them, society's trying to put them together.
That's what I'm saying. They remember our DNA mixed.
Yeah.
And then so that's why.
Jesus. This was directed by William Friedkin, who most famously would probably be known for The Exorcist, I would say.
12 Angry Men.
Well, I mean, The Exorcist because he won an Academy Award.
Yeah, I know.
You know. And then the next one would be The French Connection. And then, which 12 Angry Men, though? Was
the TV movie one.
Oh, yeah. I mean, wasn't there another one before that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Who's in this one? Jack Lemmon. Oh, wow. Okay. James Gandolfini. Oh, okay. Yeah, I just looked at that and I saw TV movie and I was like, I don't think that's the right one that people would maybe really recognize. You know what I mean? But yeah, he directed that. But like, I feel like he was a lot more of like prominent as a director through like the late 60s, 70s, and 80s and kind of 90s.
Yeah, I mean,
and like he has
80 to 88, and then there's a gap.
Mm-hmm.
The 90 to 97, and then there's the gap, and then 2000 to
Yeah,
now,
I mean, he has
basically.
38 directing credits, so not overly large. I mean, it's pretty good for, anyone. Doesn't really have any producing credits, and even like writing credits. It's like not very big as
He has
well.
more directing credits than we have, so.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But but like he actually approached Tracy Letts about making this into a film adaptation.
Well, let's just get into...
Yeah, let's get to Tracy Letts after that.
Mm-hmm.
And, because Tracy Letts is the person who wrote this. And so this movie is based off of a 1996 play.
By the same name.
By the same name, yeah. Tracy Letts. And Tracy Letts, like, he's more recognized as, I would say, a playwright and kind of sporadic actor between theater and film.
He had a lot more acting credits than I thought. Like, he was recently in Lady Bird.
Yeah, no, I mean, he has a lot of... I mean, he's kind of a jack of all trades when it comes to, like, the art of acting and writing.
Yeah.
I would say. A lot of television appearances, film, like, his IMDb is pretty big, but his Wikipedia as an actor for like theater, he was an actor on stage 88 all the way up to like recently.
Well, it's also he has had 3 plays now made into movies.
Yes.
Bug, Killer Joe, and August.
Osage County, but he's also had he's also one of it, Superior Donuts. Is that the name of it?
Yeah, it's a TV show that I was like reading about that actually looks kind of interesting.
It lasted like a season and a half before it was canceled.
It has 34 episodes.
Yeah, it's about a season and a half.
Seems like a lot.
30, well, I mean, you think about one season for a sitcom, it's about like 22 episodes.
It has like a 6.5 out of 10.
Yeah, I remember it coming out. But yeah, it's based off one of his plays. And then also a more recent one called The Woman in the Window, which was
is
just
a Netflix original.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, he wrote that specifically for Netflix, starring Amy Adams.
Yeah, where it's another...
mind fuck.
Yeah, I was trying to think of it's like
is
something more.
Is what she's seeing real or not?
Yeah, like a reality bending
yeah
question.
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting. As soon as this movie began, I was like, this was definitely adapted from a play.
Oh,
I could feel it.
It feels like
immediately.
It feels like a play.
Yeah. Yeah, Tracy Letts, I mean, he won the Pulitzer Prize for drama for his play August Osage County, and also a Tony Award for Best Play on it for August Osage County as well.
Osage County looks really good.
It's intense.
Have you seen it?
I've read it. Yeah.
Okay. I want to watch it just because it's like a really star-studded cast.
It's a great cast. I mean, yeah, who's in it? Like, I didn't even really look at. I mean, I was just like, I just recognized it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It ends super sad, dude.
Well, I figured it's a comedy drama. They always like Meryl Streep, Dermot Mulroney, Julia Roberts, Juliette Lewis, Chris Cooper,
Ewan
McGregor,
Sam Shepard, Abigail Breslin. Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Benedict
Cumberbatch.
Martindale. Like there's a lot of. I was like, man, I really want to watch it just for the cast alone. I mean, also you say Meryl Streep, and I'm like in.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm super in.
That's fair. That's totally fair. All right. I don't really have anything else for either of them. Actually,
it's kind of short. I mean, it might be also. I don't know.
This might be a shorter episode, really.
Yeah, once we like talk about it too.
We'll see. Yeah,
because also even the cast, there's like 5 people in the whole movie.
Yeah.
So.
And like one of them just literally doesn't have an IMDb.
Yeah, the doctor.
Yeah, yeah. So let's start off. It's starring Ashley Judd, which I realized. I think I've only seen like 1 or 2 movies she's ever been in, and I don't even really remember them.
I know I've seen Heat.
I've never seen Heat.
But I can't tell you anything about it.
I saw Simon Birch when I was a kid, and I don't really remember it. I just remember Jim Carrey being like the narrator over it. And I have a vague memory of watching Norma Jean in Maryland with my mom, which is the TV, and like she plays Norma Jean. And Mira Sorvini played Marilyn Monroe, because yeah, it was like the whole idea, the duality of her life. But like I would say she, if you don't recognize those ones, like she's probably most recognizable for like Double Jeopardy and Kiss the Girls. I don't know if you have any other ones.
No, I'm just looking at her now. I see one with Vince Vaughn called The Locusts.
Yeah. It's like she's done a decent amount of movies, and like I know her name and I recognize her.
The Locust. Drifter enters a small town looking for employment. While working at the local cradle ranch, he meets and falls in love with a beautiful kitty and becomes involved in a deadly yet erotic love triangle.
Yeah, and I think Ashley Judd is a supporting character in that. Okay. She's not the lead love interest.
Apparently she was in Natural Born Killers
with an uncut scene.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't really have much of a memory of her.
But you know the name.
Yeah, I know the name. I know what she looks like, but I don't really have a memory of why.
Right? Exactly.
So it must have been just like I must have seen Double Jeopardy and like Heat and stuff as a kid.
Right.
Which why? I don't know.
Or just like, I don't know, previews of like these movies, like Kiss the Girls, like with Morgan Freeman.
When did that come out?
99? No, it was before 7. It was before Morgan Freeman started going gray. Unless, well,
she was in Frida.
I haven't seen Frida, actually.
Oh, really? I think you'd like that one. Oh, Kiss the Girls. Here it is. Let me look at the image real quick. Police hunting for a serial kidnapper. Helped one victim manage to escape for the first time. No.
It's got like a 7 feel to it in a strange way.
I was going to say Bone Collector.
Oh, yeah. That's another one, yeah.
Just from the movie poster, it looks like kind of like Bone Collector.
Yeah. Yeah, Ashley Judd. And then starring opposite... Michael Shannon, who I haven't really seen many movies with him in it as well. I realized like the top that I pointed out was 8 Mile. I remember him in 8 Mile, strangely enough.
Apparently he's in Vanilla Sky.
I don't remember him in Vanilla Sky.
I don't remember him in Vanilla Sky.
Obviously, remember him in Man of Steel. He's General Zod in Man of Steel.
He's the bad guy in Shape of Water,
which I forgot about when I was looking at that. I was like, who's he? Oh, yeah.
I guess most recently...
He's the duality of the man that's turning into the monster because the monster is becoming more human because of the... Yeah.
He's in Knives Out.
Which I don't remember him in Knives Out, actually.
He's the son that has the cane that wants to, like... adapt the books into like a Netflix show or something.
That's right. He's oh my god, it's such an out of character casting for him. Actually,
he's kind of pretty much been all over the place, like,
right? Yeah, and then I just wanted to point out they came together. I don't fully remember him in that movie, but I don't 100% remember that movie, but I really like that movie.
He's in a lot of stuff that I've seen that I don't remember, like Nocturnal Animals,
which I haven't seen.
It's really good. You need to
watch
that. It's really good. But yeah, I'm like, oh, he's in Jonah Hex. I don't remember him in Jonah Hex.
I've never seen Jonah Hex.
I just like.
I knew you were gonna bring up Jonah Hex too.
The Runaways, Revolutionary Road.
I could see him in that movie. That's one of those movies where it's like I kind of know what happens in it because
Bad Boys 2. Who the fuck is he in Bad Boys 2?
I don't know, but that's like earlier on, so like maybe probably it's just a smaller role.
I guess so.
You know?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, let's move on. Let's just do quick call-outs, I guess, after this, because, Harry Connick Jr., who I really only recognized from Hope Floats and Will and Grace. It's like I recognize his face.
Call out to this one for Indigo. He's Dean, the Iron Giant.
Oh, yeah. Oh, voice acting. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why I put that down.
You never really do. For some reason, you separate them in your head.
It's sometimes, unless there's a voice actor in the movie, I guess.
Oh yeah, there have been times that have been recorded that I brought something up and you're like, oh, that was just a voice acting.
Have I really?
Yeah. I'm like, well, come on. Oh yeah, but he's Dean in the Iron Giant. And he's a really funny character.
And then Lynn Collins, who plays RC, is that her name?
RC, yeah.
Yeah. Who really, I think just, if anything more recently, she's been in the last season of The Walking Dead as one of the main antagonists.
Oh, cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah. And then what's his name? Brian.
She was,
Lynn?
Yeah, I was going to say she was in the X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Oh, yeah.
She was in Jordan Carter, and she was in number 23. Were just a couple that like stood out. But
I don't remember her.
She hasn't aged a fucking day, which is crazy.
No, she looks great. Even in Walking Dead right now, she looks great.
She doesn't look any.
Her hair's gotten a little bit gray though, from the blonde hair. It's like a little bit of gray streaks in it.
Okay.
It looks really good.
And then, last but not least,
Brian F. O'Brien, or Byrne, not Brian. Sorry, Brian F. O'Brien. Brian F. O'Byrne. which literally, what is it? He has 52 acting credits, but like, okay, what have you done? Bunch of TV stuff.
Yeah, a bunch of TV stuff. I mean,
what's his top 4?
$1 Million Baby, Before the Devil Knows You're Dead, which also Michael Shannon's in.
Mm-hmm.
Bug and The International.
Yeah.
But what is
I didn't even recognize him.
What is Before the Devil Knows You're Dead?
I think that's also directed by...
It's directed by Sidney Lumet.
No. Okay. Oh, okay.
Huh. It's Ethan Hawke's in it. Philip Seymour Hoffman. It's a heist movie.
Oh, there you go. Sounds like something you like.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm into that. Let's do it. I like Ethan Hawke. Oh, what is that new one that he has? He's apparently terrifying in.
Oh, the one with the phone,
the black phone, or something like that.
I don't think that's the name of it, but yeah. He kidnaps a kid.
He's like a kid serial killer, Freddy Krueger type.
And then like there's the supernatural, like the kids that he's killed that is trying to help the kid that's been kidnapped.
Yeah, that looks interesting. He looks really he's gotten kind of creepy as he's gotten older. Even him in Moon Knight.
Moon Knight, yeah.
He's just creepy now. Because in my mind's eye, I see Training Day.
I see Dead Poet Society.
Oh, I forgot he was in that.
And what was the one with the dog?
The dog.
Yeah, it's like it's snow. It's like a husky or something. It's not Balto, obviously.
That's Kevin Bacon.
Yeah, I know. And it's not a cartoon. It's a live action.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about?
I can see the movie poster. I can't remember what it is. But
right.
I'm not going on that deep dive right now.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, so... I mean, I guess we can move into reviews. Oh, I mean, my only like other than like William Friedkin, who had seen this on Broadway somewhere. He saw it with Michael Shannon.
Yeah, I was gonna say Michael Shannon's reprising his role.
Yeah, he saw it with Michael Shannon on Broadway, and he asked Tracy Letts to write a screenplay, and he took it to produce. Like he started to produce it on. Like he started to get it made, and studios originally didn't want Michael Shannon. I don't know who they were. I couldn't find who they originally, if there was anyone they originally wanted. Do you have any information on that?
No, I didn't see anything of that, but I can just speculate maybe he wasn't a big enough name.
That's why they didn't want him.
It wouldn't draw people in.
Yeah, they're like, he's not that big of a name. And William Friedkin's like, no. He brings a certain feeling to this role. It's like, you want Michael Shannon.
Trust me. But no, I didn't really see much I didn't really find much about this movie.
Yeah, well, I mean, because it kind of like I feel like it just kind of came and went. You know, I mean, it was a hit at cons. Ashley Judd was nominated for a Saturn Award. Maybe she even won. I can't remember. Her performance in this movie, I really think, is Oscar worthy.
She had a couple scenes that were really like subtly heartbreaking.
Well, and her final monologue, how she it's believable how she's making those connections.
Well, I meant when she's talking about her kid being missing. I
really think she could have. I really think this was an Oscar, at least an Oscar nominating worthy performance. You know.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's where they were going with this movie. I think.
I don't think they gave. They're just kind of doing their thing.
Yeah. Let's move into reviews.
All right, let me just open this up. Okay, go away, little window. Okay. So it had a 19 positive, 9 mixed, 1 negative from the critics. For the positive, I picked Roger Ebert at Chicago Sun-Times. Begins as an ominous rumble of unease and builds to a shriek. The last 20 minutes are searingly intense. A paranoid personality finds its mate and they race each other into madness.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if they race each other. Yeah.
Hey, it's Roger Ebert, man.
Yeah, I know.
Leave him alone. Film Threat, Don R. Lewis at Film Threat. It's a tough one to recommend to everyone. Just know now that it isn't a horror film as they making it out to be, nor is it a true return to form for Friedkin. Even so, it's worth seeing, but perhaps as a DVD rental down the road.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair.
And then Stephanie...
That was a mixed one?
That was the mixed one.
Uh-huh.
And then for Stephanie Zacharek at Saloon... A humorless picture, a somber, arty exercise in deep denial of its exploitation roots. The dialogue is stiff and mechanical, and performances are too.
Okay. Sure. Some people just have an opinion.
Well, no, so that was the one.
Yeah, the one negative.
That was the one negative.
It's interesting.
I mean, but even saying that too, that she gave it they gave it a 30. The next one up is a 40. So it's actually,
yeah,
like,
it's interesting that whole thing about it being a horror movie, because like William Friedkin, he has a whole thing about, like, they were trying to find a way to market this movie. And that was maybe one of the reasons why it didn't really hit big, because they were trying to market it as a horror film, and Friedkin was like, this isn't a horror film.
well, I mean, I think what happened between us is a perfect example of that.
Yeah.
But I saw the trailer
right.
thought it was like a body dysmorphic creature, almost like creature feature.
Yeah.
I knew that there was gonna be paranoia and stuff and like that, but I didn't realize that it was like it's a psychological thriller.
Yeah.
It's about madness. It's about mental disorder. It's not really. It's not really about bugs.
No, it's not about being infected at all.
No, but you can make an argument that his delusion infected her.
Yes, I mean, I was actually I was thinking I was gonna that's gonna be our journey.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is, like, on Wikipedia itself, the film, it has like this own thing for release for genre, and about how Friedkin was feeling about that. And he said that what he says is, like, that the film would have been flagged in the 1960s or 70s as a horror film, but he insists it is no such thing. He told comingsoon.net that there were all sorts of people who looked at Bug, including Fangoria, and they called it a horror film. The horror connection came from a lot of sources, but from him, Bug is in many ways a black comedy love story. I'm like, what? He said in an interview, it's not a genre film, but marketing works in mysterious ways. They have to find a genre for it. This is a comedy. This is a melodrama. This is a love story. This is a horror film. This is an adventure film. Bug doesn't easily fit into any of those categories.
I wouldn't give it a dark comedy.
No.
What's funny? I mean, I did laugh once, but it was out of like sheer like shock value.
Was it when he stabs the dude?
No, it was the tooth.
Oh, that was so fucking uncomfortable to watch.
Yeah, dude. At the end of it,
I was like, oh! I was like, fuck!
Yeah,
fuck,
I was my partner actually watched this with me.
Oh, God, what did she think of it?
She did not. She didn't. She was like, I don't really like get it.
I don't get it type thing.
Yeah, but I was like, that's not really something you like. I was like, I don't think you need to get it. I think you just need to watch it. Like, it's not something you need to get, really. Because I was like, I don't really get it. But
yeah, no, that was one thing I was beating my brain. I was like, what was the meaning of this story?
Yeah. But like, when that tooth thing happened, I was like, at the end of it, was, oh my God, that was fucked up. That was like laughing, and I was like, I'm laughing at a shock value,
out of uncomfortability.
Yeah, like I'm not laughing because it's funny. I'm laughing because I'm incredibly uncomfortable. And because if anyone has listened to this long enough, I have a thing with teeth and fingernails, and so that was horrifying.
Yeah, when he first started, you were probably like,
no.
Yeah.
Fallon looked away and she kept looking. I was like, stop looking. It's not over. You hear screaming. It's not over. It's not over until the screaming stops.
So I'm just going to go through the list of random things that I wrote down while watching this movie.
Sure.
And we can figure out where to go through from there. First thing that I wrote down was paranoia, which I think that's a very clear theme through this entire film. The other one I put down was gaslighting, because there's like the way that like, what's his name? Harry Connick's character, Judd? No.
Oh, Jerry.
Thank you.
Jerry Joss.
Yeah.
She calls him Joss.
Yeah.
Or Gross. Is it Gross?
I mean, Jerry is correct. I remember her saying Jerry. Because even like the way that he's like...
Jerry Goss, yeah.
The way that he's treating her and that he's abusive towards her.
Oh, that's something, actually, wait, before we get into that. This movie obviously has a lot of mental illness stuff. There is child abduction and domestic violence, just as we are going to be talking about. I meant to bring that up earlier, but we are going to be talking about.
It's a violent movie.
Yeah, we're in self-harm.
Mm-hmm.
So these are just some things we're going to be talking about. So if it's triggering for you, then thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you later. But and also I've come to realize we're probably going to make a joke or two because it makes us uncomfortable, and that's how we deal with uncomfortable situations. Go ahead, continue. that was my trigger warning.
Yeah, gaslighting I think is kind of like an interesting, especially like when this play was written in 1996, and even like when it was re-released or it was filmed in 2006, 2007. Gaslighting wasn't really as prominent in our like culture for recognizing, if you know what I mean.
As like as a abusive technique.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, as a manipulative, abusive technique. Yeah. Then I have
and a lot of casual homophobia.
Yeah. Well, that's also very much 1996.
That's what I was thinking that era too. Yeah.
No, I'm from Beaver. Aren't we all from a Beaver?
I guess there's like one. That is a joke, I guess.
It's like, thank you. I have the helicopter scene after they have sex. Like it's kind of like, what the fuck was that? Which I mean, metaphorical. I can break it down.
Mm-hmm.
Think about it. Then like conspiracy theories is like a huge theme in this.
Mm-hmm.
And then a big one that I started to kind of really think about towards the end, especially with Agnes, is the consumption of grief and how this could all be like a metaphorical manifestation of that.
Yeah, Fallon pointed that out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, I would have missed that one.
And then a questionable one is drug abuse. Because like there's a huge thing of just like thinking like they were acting almost like fucking crackhead meth addicts by the end of it.
Well, yeah, and also the drugs they were, because even towards the end too, it looks like that
that was a crack pipe, wasn't it? Or was it a fucking?
Well, that's what we were trying to figure out. But the thing it was like a little bong. But the thing is, he didn't pull it.
Yeah, there was no car pulled or anything. Which that could have just been like an oversight. But it didn't even really look like a bong of any sort. It looked like
a crack pipe.
A very sophisticated crack pipe, yeah.
Yeah, not like, like...
But then I was also like, why is this doctor just taking hits of crack?
That's where it started losing me. I'm like, wait a minute. Yeah, he's like, casually...
I think it was supposed to be... I think the idea of it was supposed to be more of a marijuana pipe of some sort, like some type of bubbler. Yeah.
I mean, the only thing I could say maybe is the doctor trying to come off as like...
I'm cool.
Not threatening.
I'm cool, man. I smoked the dope.
Yeah, it's like you fucking narc. Yeah. That's the only justification I could make for that. But
so then I kind of started going down into this rabbit hole of like questions with the movie, like, what's with the phone ringing? Like, what does that have to do with anything? Like other than just like maybe a sense of paranoia. But what is that? How does that tie in? Like, was she like? It starts to make you question, like, what is this part of a government conspiracy? Is he kind of like the way that the doctor's acting? It's like there's a lot. Like this movie leaves a very open-ended questions of ideas.
Yeah, but I mean that's kind of like I think that's where a lot of people are having the problem with it, and it's like I kind of agree
there's no
with
like solidified truth,
and it's with a movie about like delusion and paranoia and stuff. There's a certain point where it's like, yeah, that's fine. But there needs to be the point where the breaking, like, kind of, like, happened. So, like, you're saying the phone thing. The phone thing just didn't ever make sense. Like, at first you're like, oh, it's the boyfriend, the ex-boyfriend. And you're like, okay, he says it's not him. So maybe that's a gaslighting thing, and he's just fucking with her. Or has it been Peter this whole time? But then he's there when one of the times the phone's rings.
Yeah.
So it just becomes kind of like this. Because she has her own mental break. Mm-hmm. But it's never really, like, it's pretty clear when it happens, but there's already been shit happening that you're like, why was that happening?
Where is it pretty clear for you?
Like with the whole RC thing.
Like after they've come back?
Jerry comes in, like, after they've started with all the fly traps and stuff. Mm-hmm. And they're sitting there, like, on the floor, and she's like, yeah, she's here to spy on you and spy on me. That's when I'm like, okay, it's done. Like, it's now just, we're on a downward slope at this point. We're spiraling. Yeah. I was like, there it is. That's when she broke.
Okay.
That's when she started, like, believing in his delusion.
She was, like, already kind of believing it beforehand.
Yeah, but, like, kind of more of a, like, you could tell there was a shadow of doubt.
It was when he comes back and he tells her everything. And then the helicopter, the change, that's their world is now no longer ever the same.
Yeah. Oh, and he admits to being like experimented on.
Yeah.
Well, because even then he runs out of the. Oh, did you notice the backpack?
No.
He like when he gets on the. I've told you too much, and he like runs out of the. He has his backpack with him. When he comes back, he doesn't have his backpack.
Oh, interesting.
Like
I
that.
didn't
Like
I
that
didn't
too.
notice
I'm
that.
like, what was that?
I wonder if that was an oversight because that's interesting.
It seemed really intentional.
Yeah.
Like it seemed like that was going to come back around. Like the backpack was going to be like a thing, and it never came back around.
Interesting. Huh.
So there's a lot in this movie. You're like,
Yeah.
Why did we do that?
Well, then that makes me wonder what do you feel the importance of the painting was? Because that's the only thing really not covered in foil.
I think that like when you brought up the gaslighting thing and you led to Jerry being the one, I think Peter is doing it too, but unintentionally because he honestly believes
because
the
of his
delusion.
paranoia. Yeah.
And so the whole painting thing is him like proving to her that he just sees things.
Yeah, no, that's exactly. I wrote it down like it's like a reflection of looking for what's not there. Because he says when he looks at the painting, he's like, "There's people in it. If you look closely enough, you'll."
And
be
I
able
don't want
to
to
see
say,
more.
art is abstract. You see people in there, you see people in there. But when I looked at that painting, I didn't see no people.
Right. No, and even she was like, "Oh, interesting."
It looked like a villa. It was just a villa over the Mediterranean or something like that.
Because a big thing is like, and that was like when you say her breaking point is like because everything changes after they have sex.
I did want to talk about that.
Did you feel like it was an unnecessary sex scene?
At first I did, and again, as everyone knows,
yeah, you're uncomfortable with your sex scenes.
I just hate,
unnecessary.
I think it's unnecessary, but I did start laughing to myself because I feel like having sex with Michael Shannon would be really intense.
She seemed to make it that way.
But like just from the roles he's in, I feel like it'd be like.
Do you think he cries after sex?
No, I think it would be a lot of like him on top making really uncomfortable, unfaltering eye contact with not a lot of noises except silent little grunts. I really thought yeah. Like that. And it was just like, I feel like that'd be really intense. Like, I don't know what.
Then the worst thing would be after that is like all that really intensity, and then he finishes and he rolls over and just starts to cry.
But not even cry. Oh no! Wait, what would be worse? Like quiet tears, just stifled, or like sobbing, uncontrollably?
Not like really an uncontrolled, but like trying to keep the sob in.
Who else would be?
Where did this conversation go?
Who do you think would be like intense in bed?
Like, what do you mean?
Like a celebrity?
Michael Shannon.
I feel like Tom Cruise would be pretty intense.
Oh man, or he could just be really boring.
What didn't Bert say he feels like he'd be a generous lover?
Oh my god. All right, let's get back on track here.
Yeah, but I just thought Michael Shannon would be intense. Like,
yeah, no, I mean that's fair. Well, I mean, so it's a very what was nice about the presentation of this sex scene wasn't like a very gratuitous like softcore porn thing. It was like there was like montage of them just being very sensual towards each other, nudity and stuff.
They showed Bush. I was blown away by that. I was like 2007. All right.
Oh, yeah. I'm actually surprised this movie didn't get an NC-17 rating because of that. Honestly.
Well, even him, you see his junk.
Mm-hmm. Kind of.
Yeah, but I'm like,
it looks like they added Bush onto him to hide his junk,
hide more of it.
Which actually, I think that's a thing. Actually, because like male genitalia, for whatever fucking reason, is more is quicker to get an NC-17 rating on stuff, like a higher rating. So they actually will, if the person is supposed to be nude and they want it to like look more natural, they'll add more hair to.
I mean, I think the penis is kind of an aggressive thing.
It is. It's a very weird looking thing.
It's a very aggressive, kind of like I'll open your business kind of. It's not as subtle.
No, it's a very much a hello, I'm here.
Yeah, like
hello, my darling. Hello.
I kind of get that.
Why did I wrote? Oh, yeah, it's a full thought right there. So like, I know, like, okay, so like a big thing is like I was starting to notice, like I was trying to think of like their arcs in this movie together in this story.
Well, I mean, I would start off with like just so we're to paint the scene. We're in some rural.
Yeah.
We're in some rural town in somewhere in the desert somewhere.
It's in Oklahoma. It's
it's Oklahoma because he's from the Panhandle, right?
Yeah, and it's like desolate motel, middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Which even what do you remember what I meant to write it down? The top of the motel had
rustic motel.
Thank you.
That's what it was called.
The rustic motel.
And I was like, that's one word for it. But we meet Agnes, and she is like a server bartender at the local dive who lives in
local lesbian bar, actually.
Yeah, local lesbian bar. Her best friend is RC, and they work at this place, and she lives in this motel. And long story short, one night at the bar, RC meets Peter, Michael Shannon, and is like, "Oh, I have someone for you to meet." Like, kind of in this like a new guy,
I'm not a max murderer.
A new drifter guy.
I'm not a max murderer.
And then basically they have this party at her apartment / hotel room, and then he just kind of moves in.
Yeah.
It just all escalates really quickly in this movie.
I mean, it's very well done in the way that he's like, I don't want to impose, and I don't think he's actually trying to stay there. He's not attempting to do anything with her, actually.
Yeah, and he just seems very quiet, very introvert.
I'm not an axe murderer. that scene was so fucking funny. And
maybe that's the dark comedy they keep talking about.
I mean, there is little like weird. There is humor at the beginning of this film.
Yeah, like he doesn't partake in drugs or alcohol, and she's talking to.
I thought he was doing the coke.
Mm-mm. They kept offering it, but he was never.
He just wanted to hang out.
Yeah,
just not drinking, not doing drugs. Just wanted to hang out
like an axe murderer. But like, so he like. Yeah, so he's just this quiet introvert, and she keeps like saying you don't know this guy. He's in the bathroom, and she's like, you don't know this guy. He could be an axe murderer, and they're talking about that. And then he comes out, and he just keeps quietly under his breath, like as they're having a conversation, I'm not an axe murderer. And they're like, what are you saying? He's like, oh, you said I'm an axe murderer. I could be an axe murderer. I'm not an axe murderer.
And they're like, oh no, we were just
joking around.
Yeah.
And then RC leaves to go to a party, leaving Shannon there, and then they have this little like.
And Peter was supposed to go, but he decides not to. He was just going to leave.
Yeah, and then they find out that he's technically like. You find out he's technically like homeless, and so she offers to sleep on the couch, and that's when the whole cricket thing starts. And that's like the first one, right?
That's before he's offered to stay there.
Oh yeah, but they're going like this is kind of like the dude has a thing for bugs.
Yeah, but like he hears a noise, and that's when it turns out to be the smoke alarm.
Yeah, right, and then you just pop off the smoke alarm,
and then he's like, there's radiation in that. La da da da.
Oh yeah, like that's the thing is like you very subtly start seeing.
You see his weird paranoia.
Yeah, very. It starts off like
very subtle. Because it
begins as an ominous rumble of unease.
Yeah.
And that's really how it starts. It really starts as this real slow snowball with these little comments on the side about this and that. And you like starts to unravel and you're like, oh, this guy has a lot of conspiracies and paranoias about the world.
Exactly. Well, what's interesting is like they both have cut themselves off from society.
Yeah. And Agnes, because you find out that her 6-year-old kid
Lloyd
Yeah.
Was just mysteriously disappeared while she turned around to grab an onion.
Yeah.
At the store one day.
Yeah.
So she's living through a world of grief of dealing, and this is 10 years ago for her. She's trying.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, she's been dealing with this grief of her son for 10 years. And even and it's like, it shows that she's still dealing with it, especially at the very beginning of the movie when she's at the grocery store. She sees the onion and she freezes.
Because then she sees the stroller, and then you start hearing like kid noises in the background. So you know pretty much right away that there's some kind of traumatic event in her life.
Yes. And so it's just like, it's very fitting. It's like both these people that have separated themselves off from society for whatever reason they have, find themselves in this desolate motel.
Yes.
Alone. With some outside forces, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, pretty much, like, it starts to just, like, you start to just see... Well, you get introduced to Jerry... Well, because, okay, yeah, because, like, Peter, he ends up actually staying over, because, like, after Agnes is like, you know what, just, you know, it's like, there's a thing of, like, they kind of mentioned that they don't really have many friends, and he's like, well, I'm just looking for a friend. I'm not interested in women in that way. And she's like, are you a homo? And just like, he's like, no, not nothing like that. And
well, it's also like she's just asking like, oh, are you gay?
Yeah.
But just it's fucking Oklahoma in
Yeah,
2007.
exactly. Yeah.
What are you, a homo? Like,
well, and like she's clearly, some type of like bisexual in some way. It looks like her and RC. That doesn't seem like a friendly like goodbye kiss. That's
they have like a kiss.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which I was like, oh, interesting.
Oh, and even like Jerry is just kind of like, you're not fucking around. Like pretty much like accusing her, and like he gets like, because you know what I would fucking do. Like his homophobia comes.
Yeah,
through
like if you
strong.
went gay on me, basically, you know what I do. And you find out Jerry has was arrested for basically for attempted murder of her.
He said he went away for a robbery.
Oh, right. But she just said you almost killed me.
Yeah, because he's clearly abusive.
Yeah,
and she's had like court orders, like restraining orders against him.
Yeah.
So like she's been dealing with this guy for years, who just literally he's just controlling and manipulative.
Yeah, and
he's a psychopath that won't let Agnes go.
Yeah,
I mean, his own fucking goddamn, traumatic bullshit that he went through losing a fucking kid as well. That's not to justify his fucking actions or anything, but that's where his, he's just a fucking crazy person.
It kind of like implies that was kind of his breaking point.
Yeah,
mentally.
Mm-hmm.
Like loosely, because
as soon as she brings up Lloyd, he fucking snaps and he's like, I told you not to fucking say that name around me.
Yeah, like that's his like everyone like it really like except for RC, everyone has like a pretty clear mental thing.
Yeah,
going on.
No, RC is like really trying to help the best of the situation for everybody.
Yeah,
trying to help Agnes, trying to get Peter to fucking go away or whatever, Jerry to go away, and when Jerry's it's like you can tell there's this like fear with everyone. Like Jerry controls the room when he's there.
Yeah,
but Peter just tends to like he doesn't care about it.
Yeah, he doesn't care about that like energy, that like toxic alpha thing. It doesn't really affect him.
He just kind of like. He just like watches it.
Well, because also it's like, I mean, from his delusion, he has bigger shit to deal with.
Yeah. He's like, this is nothing.
Yeah, I got bigger fish to fry.
So yeah, I mean, this is like. So after, I forget exactly. Oh yeah, Jerry just leaves on his own accord. Yeah.
Yeah, because everyone kind of turns against him. Well, I mean, so basically, we kind of got derailed. So after the sex scene.
Well, I was leading up to the sex scene, like why they end up having sex.
Oh, you're talking. Okay, yeah, I'm getting. Okay, so yeah, there's this domestic violence scene, and then Peter has come back with like breakfast for them, and then they start talking about who Jerry is in relation to him. That leads to them talking about Lloyd.
Oh yeah, and Jerry just like got in while Agnes was sleeping too.
Yeah, like
she thought it was Peter because Peter stayed over. I mean, this is kind of so. Yeah, the big thing is like. From the night before, you kind of get this feeling that obviously Peter doesn't really want anything with Agnes, it seems, and Agnes isn't. She's literally just being kind to let Peter stay over,
and they're kind of like kindred spirits in the sense they just need a friend.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So then, after the whole Jerry thing, then Peter starts like asking questions about him, and calls out Agnes on being a liar about you said you didn't have any kids, like who's the kid type thing. And Agnes kind of like opens up about the disappearance of Lloyd. And then Peter opens up about his delusions of government. Like, well, it's he casually says it. He's like, you keep getting these like little moments of like his paranoia starting to come through and take over.
Yeah. And it's also like as he gets closer to her, the more he's letting down his walls of like I'm normal, like I'm done.
It's like
not normal.
It's like the closer he gets to her, the more his paranoia is going to take over.
Yeah,
because oh man, he even says it. It's like whenever I get close to somebody, it's like the part of me that's me changes.
Yeah, like the core me.
Yeah.
Like he's like well, that's after they have like sex.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
but he's stating it right there.
Yeah,
like things are not going to be the same anymore.
Yeah.
Because very strange how they end up having sex is like she kind of opens up being very honest. He opens up being very honest.
And that's like her talking about the missing child thing was some really great acting on her part.
It was, dude. Yeah, just like
subtle sorrow.
Mm-hmm.
It was really like well done.
Mm-hmm. And then he's like he just like admits like I haven't been with a woman in many years. But if you wanted to, I think I would be able to do it with you or something. And then she's like, "Come here, boy."
Well, then
she literally says, "Come here, boy."
Well, that's what my partner pointed out too, because then at this point on, from the "come here," calls him like "come here, boy," like like kid, basically. She starts treating him more like a child. There's a scene where she swaddles him. She's like. He's laying in her lap and she's like playing with his hair. She was just like, oh, that's kind of interesting. That after that, like once they had this whole moment about her missing kid, and then she pointed out the swaddling scene. Like she was like, oh, like maybe like she's.
I wonder Michael Shannon's character is supposed to be like much younger than her, but it didn't really look that way. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, maybe. Because even there's that whole scene where he's like, yes, ma'am, don't call me ma'am. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm not old enough to be your mama or something like that.
Yeah, well, so yeah, the whole sex scene happens, which it's like montaged with all that stuff, but it also like it's montaged with like weird like bug imagery. Like it ends with a praying mantis head.
Yeah. It was weird. Bugs, got it, bugs.
Yeah,
but then he wakes up in the middle of the night and. This is when his accidental gaslighting.
I wouldn't say his gaslighting. It's when his paranoia starts to take over.
Yeah, no, but it's that whole thing of like, it's in a sense it's gaslighting because he's like, so he says this bug bit me.
Yeah, and he's like, don't you see it? It's right fucking there.
And he like grabs it and he's showing it. And she's like, I guess, but he's so convincing that there's a bug between his fingers.
That she has to see something.
Yeah, so that's why it's a little bit, he's gaslighting her in a sense, even though it's not malicious intent. It's he sees it and he needs someone to believe in the delusion.
Yeah, I'm starting to wonder if that would be. I wonder if there's a different name for that than gaslighting, because I feel like gaslighting is telling somebody something
that you know is false to convince them it is true.
Yes. Yeah.
Like gaslighting itself is malicious intent.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good point.
Yeah. Oh, well, let's think about that.
Yeah. You know. Do some research.
So yeah, this is kind of like the whole bug thing happens. He kind of has this open up about what I was saying about like I change when I get close to a person. What is the freak out that makes him run out? The phone rings. He tells her about the government stuff.
And then it's like if I tell you too much, you become like a target.
Yeah.
And so he leaves in a huff. She goes to the bathroom to start crying.
Because someone who she just got really close with decided to leave her.
Yeah. And so then he comes back in and through the bathroom door is explaining how he's an ex-vet that went AWOL because of medical experiments.
Yeah.
They gave me like a contagion or something. I don't know what. Yada, yada, yada. And then that's when we get into...
That's when they hug and the helicopter, like the earthquake helicopter sound comes in. So it's like, are they being watched? Are they not being watched? Is that a reflection of like the psychoses happening in there? That's when the things are never the same after this point.
Yeah. Because like in the whole beginning of this movie, it's kind of like a drama about a drifter meeting a grief-stricken woman and helping her through. They're helping each other through their shit, and then it takes a very hard swerve into delusion and paranoia. Mm-hmm. Because then we get into the whole cleaning the apartment of bugs, and there's fly traps everywhere, and plastic wrap on stuff, and
bug spray, and like
cans and cans of Raid.
And Peter is sitting there with a microscope, and he's like checking his blood and like lighting it on fire and all this stuff,
doing all these little experiments on his blood. And that's when Jerry shows back up, and they have like a weird little scene. And again, it goes back to he's like trying to use this like toxic masculine energy, and it just doesn't really work.
Yeah.
on him entirely, on Peter entirely.
There's a moment you can see where he's like, when Jerry's looking in the microscope and just like that pick is in Peter's hand and in his mouth, and like you can just see in his eyes, like, oh, I could just fucking stab him right
That's
now.
another, Shannon had a lot of really great facial expressions where you're like, I expected him to snap so much sooner.
Mm-hmm.
But also that's another thing that we forgot to mention is that he has this like tooth that's been hurting him this whole time.
Oh, yeah.
And that's kind of like an underlining thing because then the girls get back. So Agnes and RC show back up, and then there's like this really uncomfortable him doing his like Jerry doing his alpha male controlling the room thing.
Mm-hmm. Which he finally does, like, you know, he's like, fine, I guess I'll just fucking leave.
I know when I'm not needed or where I'm not wanted, and he leaves. And then this is kind of like,
oh yeah, RC goes to call the cops.
Yeah, because of the restraining order, and then this causes then Peter to snap about his paranoia, and then it turns into Agnes has like a burrow in her arm, and they gotta get it out, and RC's just standing there, kind of like, what the fuck, like. She's fine. We went to the doctor, and that also causes what? You went to the doctor?
Yeah.
It's like this. It's now completely his walls of like his paranoia is completely like on his sleeve now. And what I thought was kind of interesting was I completely lost my train of thought.
Yeah.
Well then like the RC's like the dermatologist says that like this may be like self-inflicted. These aren't bug bites. And then he like pulls up his shirt and he's like, what do you call this then? And it's clearly like scratch marks and itches and cuts, and they're not bug bites, but he's look at this proof. And it's like, you just disproved everything that you just said. These aren't bug bites. These are self-inflicted wounds. And that's when you're like, oh, he's completely utterly unraveling.
Yeah. And like, there's a big like argument of like her saying like, she points out Dr. Sweet, and Peter's like knows who that is. It's apparently the doctor that's looking for him, and
the one that has been conducting the experiments.
Yeah. And like all RC wants is to take Agnes out of there. Like even Peter's like, you know, Agnes is a grown woman. She can do what she chooses.
Yeah.
You know, blah, blah, blah. And then like as Agnes and RC are kind of having like an argument, Peter starts to have like a bug attack pretty much. And he starts like seizuring. And like falls onto the goddamn bed.
And this is where she swaddles him.
Oh yeah, that's the point you were talking about.
She like swaddles
that was
him.
RC and her. Yeah, they both kind of do that, and then Agnes just fucking turns on RC and tells her to get the fuck out.
Yeah,
you know, how dare you try to take me away from him and blah 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 and all this stuff. And that's when you start to see like Agnes is really kind of a broken person. Like her mind is breaking a lot here, and then the fucking climax of this movie, the last 20 minutes.
Well, we find out that this rotten tooth.
Oh, that's right. The tooth happens first.
We find out this rotten tooth is where the experiments, like.
Well, this is where Peter's thinking is that
the egg sac is.
Yeah,
at.
He's like they put the bugs in me into the egg sac. Gotta find where the egg sac. Oh, where do you think the egg sac is? Well, my tooth has been hurting me. Of course, it's where the egg sac is.
They put it under the filling, and then he just takes some pliers, and it's fucking brutal. You just watch a grown man rip out his tooth at the root with pliers, and it's fucking intense.
And then they put it under the fucking microscope, and apparently they both fucking see something.
Millions.
Mm-hmm.
Millions. So like they're both seeing this egg sac of millions of little bugs inside this tooth, and there's blood coming down his mouth. Oh, there's blood everywhere. Like it was bad. And then, yes. And that's what's crazy about this movie. Just like Roger Ebert said, the 20-minute mark, and it's like
going to the last 20 minutes.
It's the 20-minute mark. I even paused it.
What did I say? The final 20 minutes has Agnes fully in the paranoia of Peter, and and then the very end of it.
And it's pause it at 20 minutes. This is when it happens. They show the apartment. It's now completely head to toe covered in tin foil. There's a bunch, and it's really cool and really eerie looking because there's a bunch of bug zappers, so it's all blue and reflective.
Yeah.
The director was saying it was such a pain in the ass to work with foil because it was constantly breaking, and then also reflections of like crew and stuff. Mm-hmm. Which I was just like, oh, I never thought about that. But yeah, so it's all blue lit, and long story short, basically, Dr. Sweet shows up with Jerry.
Yeah.
Jerry breaks down the door, and then Dr. Sweet, he's like got Agnes on the ground, and Dr. Sweet's like, give me a minute. Like, let me have a moment with her. And they start talking, and this is when he like takes a hit off the crack pipe or whatever, and is basically...
Well, Agnes this entire time is like a bug crawling around the apartment
and itching and twitching and like,
and she's talking about like how the bugs, and they send the transmitters and the signals with foils for it to distract the transmitters.
Yeah, and then Dr. Sweet starts like kind of playing into this delusion, like I said, to be on her side.
Yeah,
because you don't want to. Like,
he's doing what a trained negotiator does.
Exactly. Like, he doesn't want to fight. This is her reality. You fight her on it, she's going to fight you back. So let's just go with it. And they're having this whole conversation about how he, with his connections, like with working with the CIA and such, like, we can help find your son. Yeah. And then at this point, fucking Peter comes out of the bathroom, which the entire time I'm like, where the fuck is he?
Yeah, no, right. This entire time while they're having like a good, I would say, 10-minute long conversation.
He's not there.
He's just not, and it's like, where the but.
And then the bathroom door opens up, and there's Peter, and he is he's shredded. Yeah. He's covered in blood. He's covered in cuts. He's got blood like dried onto his eye where he must have slid under his eyelid looking for a egg sac or something.
He's fucking carrying a knife.
Like a kitchen knife. He's horrifying. Yeah. And also, especially with the blue light and the blood, it looks like almost black ink is all over him, and he's shirtless, and it's Michael Shannon. He's just got that fucking look in his eye. Oh, that was like, this is not gonna end well. I didn't think that Dr. Sweet was gonna be the one, but all right, like, sure. I thought Jerry or something, but
fucking yeah.
And then it turns into this. Then the delusion even goes farther, where Dr. Sweet is in fact a robot.
Yeah,
and even him,
I like that. This new model.
He's like slapping on the face. This model's really good. R&D did good. Oh, look at that response time. He's like slapping his fingers in his face. Like, look at that response time. It's good. And then he just ends up murdering Dr. Sweet,
and to prove to Agnes that it's a robot. It's like, no, and he's like picking up the blood and licking. It's like, it's synthetic. It's all synthetic. Yeah, like taste it. It's not even real.
Again, warning. He brutally. It's like you see everything. He brutally stabs this dude to death. And
Dr. Sweet's way too cool about Peter standing there with a knife, by the way.
Well, yeah, and he's trying to pull out the sedative.
Oh, yeah.
Like, all sneakily. That was the thing, too, is like the second I saw Peter come out of that door, I would have been like, out, call the cops. Like, we need backup for this one. Like,
but then it's like, that makes you wonder, like, is the conspiracy real?
True.
Why is he just so casually trying to pull out a fucking sedative and not calling for backup?
Yeah, like, why doesn't he have like orderlies like with him? Like, why is Jerry involved?
Exactly.
That's a good point. But yeah, but that whole thing too, like when and Agnes is freaking out because she just saw him stab a man to death, and he's like lapping up the blood, like, look, it's not even real. Look, it's not even real. It's just like it's insane. It's like so intense.
And then he starts going down this like rabbit hole of a conspiracy, government conspiracy that like goes all the way back to
like 1963.
And what's crazy is like listening to him make these connections. I'm like, this fucking makes sense.
Well, then what Jacob brought up earlier, which was like, so yeah, there's all of that. But then she mentioned something about something I don't know. And then he starts like yelling at her, like, what do you not know? What do you think you don't know? Yeah. And then you see them build this conspiracy web together.
How she like starts to make all of these connections about why everyone around her is like the reason why Lloyd was missing, and how she, like, why her and Peter had to meet together, because she is the mother bug and he is the drone.
So Lloyd was kidnapped by the father because he didn't make a noise, so it was someone he knew. So it was definitely the father. Mm-hmm. The father then took Lloyd to the government to make the bugs, because now that the bugs are made with the same DNA, Peter and Agnes need to mate to breed the bugs. RC has been spying on them because RC is the one introduced Peter and Agnes, so she works for them too.
And RC just got a kid with her partner, which is the payment.
That was the payment for it's fucking. It's actually like it's an amazing scene. It's incredibly uncomfortable, but like them like this erratic, like,
I was like, she's the one that's connected on, and he's like, yeah, and
there's more. Yeah, like he's her hype girl. Like, yeah, come on, yeah, okay. And then what happens?
Which is like, I'm sitting there, I'm like, as I'm watching, I'm like, dude, this is totally fucking, this is meth addict crackhead behavior right here. The paranoia, the conspiracy, the connection of like the people next to you and how around you that have, like you feel like they're betraying you, and you're just not thinking clearly, and you're finding whatever way you can connect it to make it make sense. Like, no, that's why they did that, because if they did that, then that's why of course they got that because of that, and then if they're doing that, that's of course it's against me because I don't want that to happen. So then of course, and then like all this is going to happen.
Well, even before the whole Dr. Sweet thing, which was like going back to the helicopter's overhead, and to them, like it's shaking the room, and there's the spotlights coming in, like they're being watched. But then it cuts to Dr. Sweet, and it's just a helicopter, riding off in the distance somewhere above. But to there, it's like this
delusional world that they're living in.
Yeah, it was really interesting.
So this is where it gets into the final fucking thing. It was like Ashley Judd's fucking like, I am the mother bug, just like this like weird discovery of enjoyment with like it's like a victory of like I figured out the puzzle. I figured out everything.
Well, then they they come to the realization that they're gonna take them away to take the bugs, but the bugs won't leave us. They're gonna be with us forever. They need us for the bugs, so we need to
eradicate ourselves.
We need to eradicate who created them. We created them. We need to eradicate ourselves. So they grab a bunch of high octane gasoline, put it all over the apartment, get naked, and have this little
douse themselves with fucking gasoline. Yeah, with the gasoline.
Yeah,
and have a fucking weird moment together.
You are the brood mother. You are the gatekeeper. Whatever, you know.
It literally turns into just like a complete form of delusional, like paranoia, and they fucking light themselves. They set themselves on fire.
Yeah. And the entire place.
But it's interesting. I do want to point out is like where this whole like idea of grief, the metaphorical grief of consumption, is through Agnes. Kind of like she's kind of like the way that she's exploring how Lloyd disappeared is kind of her finally coming to acceptance that she fucked up. She didn't keep track of her child.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
In her mind. Like I'm saying in her mind, you know?
Yeah. No,
so it's like within like her, it's kind of like within all of this, it's kind of like how she's finally lost her entire like sense of being, coming to a sense of that, and now it's time to just, you know, set myself free on fire in a weird, not, well, you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, like
not actually set myself free, but like, you know, she's setting herself free.
Yeah. Like cleansing with fire, kind of thing.
Which, I mean, killing the bugs, you know, the conspiracy that only lies with it. Yeah, because then it even like, did you like follow through the credits? There's a really interesting thing. Is there's a mid-credit quick flash scene of Lloyd's toys being out in the motel, not with any foil or not on fire or anything, and then the opening scene of Dr. Sweet just kind of lying there dead on the foil floor is at the post-credit scene. It's like a quick post-credits flash.
Yeah.
Which I thought was a very interesting choice, where it's like, if you really think about Agnes, the importance of Lloyd and her story with Lloyd, and then Peter and the importance of the conspiracy, and how those two moments are the things that change their lives forever.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. No, I didn't see that.
But there's like so much interesting things with like...
Sorry, I got a foot cramp.
You're good. With so many interesting things with like the phone ringing.
That's like the thing though.
The phone ringing, the fact that, there is the weird, like they're seeing they're feeling the delusional of the helicopter and whatnot. But the way that Dr. Sweet is actually interacting with them. And then the coherentness of like making these conspiracies that they're talking about really strangely makes sense. It's kind of, it's like, did they really like find a conspiracy inside of this whole thing, and there's a weird reality and truth to their conspiracy and their paranoia?
Well, yeah, I mean, because also, I mean, I'm a conspiracy.
Yeah, we both are.
Yeah, like I believe in. There's some I'm like, oh yeah, totally, that totally makes sense.
But yeah, it's just like that's kind of the thing. Like it's just it makes me like, where
I did think it was when he called himself Ted. He's like, no, I'm their Ted Kaczynski. I was like,
oh. Yeah.
What? And I was like, wait, who's that? I'm like, the Unabomber?
Mm-hmm.
Like, all right.
Oh, and then she even brings up like he's John Doe number 2, which I'm forgetting which conspiracy that was.
That's the same moment that he's like, no, I'm their Ted Kaczynski.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like
This was way different than I thought it was going to be.
And it just makes me wonder, like, what really was, like, the point of this. So the original play, which is set in 1996, there's a lot more conspiracy. I think there's a lot more from the original play. I haven't read the original play, but I remember friends in college that had read it and were like, this play's fucking crazy, Jacob. You need to. But it's more about, it's like Peter was in the Gulf War, and there's an actual syndrome that people that were in the Gulf War experienced because of like this shit that was happening around in the Gulf War. It's called Gulf War syndrome, which is a wide range of acute chronic symptoms that have been linked to fatigue, muscle pain, cognitive problems, insomnia, rashes, diarrhea. Like a lot of anybody that was in the Gulf War, like a lot of them like experienced stuff from like all like long time. And part of that was just kind of thinking of just like the PTSD that they would experience. And then like with all of the things that happened to them, making the connections. I mean, also, paranoia and a big thing. And then delusional parasitosis, which is a part of like schizophrenia. There's like, I don't know, Tracy Letts just like had this like crazy idea of like, what happens? Let's explore paranoia with this vet and this woman who's dealing with grief and the loss of her son. You know, and, yeah. It's insane. This movie was insane.
It was really intense. I mean, my biggest thing though is like, it was kind of like how long it was. I feel like you could have done this in kind of like an anthology kind of setting.
Hey, what do you mean anthology?
You know, like VHS or ABCs or
like shorter.
I feel like you could have done this in like 30 minutes.
Yeah. But I don't know. I feel like the especially with like the story of like with RC and like with Jerry, just like it kind of like it helps build this world into more of a reality.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, you have anything else?
I think I got all that. Yeah, that was just that's a weird movie. Thanks for recommending it.
I didn't recommend it. I just said maybe that will work. And at first it didn't, but then the more I thought about it, I was like, yeah, it's
yeah. I mean, if we really want to think about infection, like there's the idea of like you were saying, like the infection of like one's paranoia pressed onto another.
Well, because when we went into this, we thought of like we were like, oh, let's not do zombies because that's too on the nose. We were thinking of like a viral infection. We didn't think about like infection of the mind.
Yeah,
going into this, and I was like, "Oh, that's interesting." We did an infection of the mind, by accident, and it was like, "Oh, that kind of worked out better than I thought it would." Because at first, like I said, at first I was like, "This doesn't fit at all," and then I went, "Oh, yeah, no, actually, it works." You have an idea of rating?
For me personally, it's a Mogwai.
Really?
Because I really liked it. I thought it was really cool. I haven't really watched a movie that made me think like this in a minute. But critic-wise, really, it is a wet Mogwai. Yeah. I wouldn't give it a Mogwai after midnight or anything. I don't think it's like getting anywhere near to a Gremlin.
I was going to give it a Mogwai after midnight.
Yeah?
Yeah. And I don't know. Part of it, I don't know. There's a couple of reasons, but it's just also my personal taste. Like the whole feeling like a play. I don't know. Yeah, that was my. I'm just gonna go with my gut. Yeah,
that's fine. We can
after midnight.
Well, yeah, we can have a separate rating as well. That's fine.
I mean, I would like. I recommend it. It's like you said, it made you think.
I don't know if I would recommend it. I mean, it's like what I'd say said that one of those reviews, like recommend to very specific kind of people.
Well, that's what. If you have ever been interested in seeing this, then see it.
You okay?
Watch it.
It's not what you think it's going to be. Well, I mean, now that you've listened to us, you know exactly what it is.
But yeah, like if you want a tale of mental illness and paranoia, this is something to like really consider watching. It's interesting. It really does make you think. But yeah.
Yeah. Are we agreed on next week, or do you want to talk it over the weekend?
Let's talk it over a little bit longer.
Sounds good.
Because I liked the idea of saving that one for something else.
Okay.
But yeah, we will figure out something else for Infected, and we will follow us on Instagram to see what that will be.
Yeah. Good talk today. It was fun.
Yeah. Please like, subscribe, all that stuff. rate us on Apple Podcasts and all of our platforms if you get the chance and you want to. Any nice stuff or any criticisms are always welcome, because we're still figuring it out.
Yeah, it's always going to be evolving.
Yeah, we're always growing. But yeah, so thanks for listening. This is Tommy.
This is Jacob.
This is Tommy and Jacob's Mixtape. Bye bye.